ever imagined dinosaurs hanging out with millionaires and like royalty and stuff?
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
You ready to really dig into a story about paleontology and international diplomacy?
Yeah.
All thanks to one millionaire who just really loved dinosaurs.
All because of a Portuguese paleontology blog.
Really?
Yeah. Surprisingly enough, it's where we found this whole crazy story, actually, from a blog called Ciência Natural. It's by Dr. Luís Azevedo Rodrigues.
So cool. O Tsar E.O. Dinosaurio. The Tsar and the Dinosaur. I have to say, that title is so good.
Oh, yeah. That'll grab you. It definitely sets the stage for sure. Dr. Rodrigues, he's really passionate about making these stories something anyone can understand.
Right.
He's a paleontologist himself, so he's really good at making science interesting.
That's awesome. Okay, so the story he tells is kind of hard to believe.
Oh.
Just picture this. We've got Andrew Carnegie, the steel tycoon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just having his morning coffee reading the New York Times.
Okay.
But he's not looking at the business section or anything.
Right.
No, Carnegie's completely focused on an article about this creature. And this thing is so massive, it's practically peeking into his Manhattan office window, the Brontosaurus.
Yeah. It was the late 19th century.
Okay.
And people were going crazy over these dinosaur discoveries. I mean, they were happening all over the world.
Wow.
And Carnegie was just as fascinated as everyone else, it sounds like.
I think fascinated might be an understatement.
Oh, really?
Like, this wasn't just some hobby for Carnegie.
Mm.
He was so obsessed with this Brontosaurus that he, like, grabbed his checkbook and wrote a note to the director of the Carnegie Museum with a check for $10,000.
No way.
Yes.
Wow.
Basically saying, buy this for Pittsburgh right now.
Oh my gosh. That's incredible. It really gives you an idea about his personality.
No, like, talk about impulsive.
I know, right?
And you won't believe what he did next.
What?
This Brontosaurus thing was just the start. His actions, like, set off this whole global dinosaur obsession.
Wow.
Almost like a Diplodocus diplomacy that even a czar couldn't resist.
Really?
Yes.
Whoa.
It all started with the discovery of the Diplodocus Carnegie.
Named after him, of course.
Naturally.
Of course. Now, this wasn't just any dinosaur.
Yeah.
This one was about to be a world famous.
Oh, wow. Okay, I need to hear more about this. So Carnegie had a replica of his Diplodocus built
For his castle in Scotland.
Wow.
Like, why not? Right?
If you can, right. And word got out about it.
Yeah.
King Edward VII of England, he always had to have what everyone else did.
Oh, yeah.
And he decided that he wanted a Diplodocus too.
I can totally picture the note from his staff or whatever. Diplodocus has to be bigger than Edward's.
Right. And so Carnegie, being the generous guy that he was, went ahead and did it. He had a replica built just for the British Museum.
Wow. Okay, so it begins. So do you think this was like a strategic move by Carnegie? Or was he just really excited about dinosaurs and wanted to share them?
It's really interesting to think about. It seems like Carnegie knew that these huge creatures could actually be a good way to improve relations between countries.
That's so smart.
I know, right? Like, what better gift is there than something from prehistory?
Exactly, and that's how we got Diplodocus diplomacy. Replicas started showing up in museums all over Europe. Germany, France, Italy, even Russia got one.
Wait a minute. Dinosaurs being used for international relations. I need to hear more about this dino diplomacy thing.
Just try to picture what it would have been like to get a gift like that. These weren't just any old presents. They were symbols of scientific progress, important cultural stuff.
I love that.
And let's be real, it was a little bit of a competition between all the monarchs to have the coolest dinosaur.
Totally. Like a giant thank you card from millions of years ago. But it goes deeper than that, right?
For sure. These gifts weren't just for show. They actually helped scientists in different countries work together more. Museums could share what they were learning. Paleontologists could team up even though they lived in different countries.
Hello.
It's pretty cool. All because they were all amazed by these ancient animals.
It's crazy to think that one Diplodocus could have such a huge impact connecting people across the world.
I know, right? And speaking of big impacts, Carnegie's dinosaur diplomacy didn't always go perfectly.
Oh.
For example, there was that time with Tsar Nicholas II and a certain Diplodocus.
Oh, no. This does not sound good.
That ended up collapsing.
A collapsing Diplodocus. Okay, so what happened?
Okay, so Carnegie, being the dino diplomat that he was, he sent a Diplodocus replica all the way to Tsar Nicholas II of Russia. And the guy in charge of putting this massive skeleton puzzle together was W.J. Holland, the director of the Carnegie Museum.
Wow, talk about pressure.
Can you imagine?
I can only imagine the scene. Like these huge rooms in a Moscow museum, And this team is carefully putting each piece of this giant prehistoric creature together.
It must have been amazing to see. And then, as luck would have it,
Oh boy.
Tsar Nicholas II decides to come see it.
Oh no, this is not gonna be good.
So, of course, the workers want to be respectful.
Right.
So they stop what they're doing and drop everything.
Wait, they dropped the dinosaur.
They did. The Diplodocus was only partly put together. Who knows how many bolts and braces were holding it up, and boom, it all came crashing down.
You can't make this stuff up. This incredible gift meant to bring everyone together ends up a pile of bones because everyone was trying to be polite.
Yeah, pretty ironic.
I bet W.J. Holman wished he was back in Pittsburgh at that moment.
I bet. It makes you wonder what they even said after that happened. But the good news is that nobody got hurt.
That's good.
And even though the Diplodocus was probably a little banged up, they were able to rebuild it, and it looked amazing.
What a story. So we've got millionaires, dinosaurs, international drama. You really you realize that there's so much more to these ancient animals than you might think.
Definitely. It just shows how these scientific discoveries can have these crazy, unpredictable effects that affect everything and everyone. I mean, who would thought that one little article in a newspaper about a brontosaurus would lead to all this?
It really makes you think, like what's happening right now that we don't even notice that'll be a big deal in the future.
Right. That's what's so exciting, the way everything's connected, the surprises that pop up throughout history. It's all about looking closer at things and finding these amazing stories hidden underneath.
I love that. We've gone from Pittsburgh all the way to fancy museums in Europe and uncovered a story about dinosaur diplomacy, collapsing skeletons, and how powerful scientific curiosity can be. Until next time, keep looking for those hidden connections. You never know what you'll find.